Hey everyone, and welcome to my Procreate demo for the piece I call All Nighter. This was another one that started in Adobe Sketch and I brought it over into Procreate. One interesting trick that I use here is because I have that big moon in the background. I haven't found a good way to do circles or shapes in Procreate yet, so I just sort of looked up a circle PNG off the internet and imported it in and sized it appropriately, which ended up working out pretty well. So here you can see I'm starting to block everything in. I start with a giant master shape so that I can use that to constantly select so that I don't go outside of that shape as I'm painting. And here I'm just blocking in all of the individual elements. I did this while watching TV, so there are some moments where I sort of zone out and do something and then you'll see me like go back and do it. But there I just did some quick color adjustments and now I'm sort of fuzzing up the eyebrows, now finishing off the tie, and here we go starting into the actual lighting. So I wanted this to be lit by the moon, so I kept all the light around the outside. Essentially, you know, he's lit from behind, so you'll see sort of a different lighting scheme than what I normally do. There's a lot of noodling going on in here, sort of trying to make sure that the light is hitting the way I want it to. And what I do, the part you can't see on these, unfortunately, is my layer setup. So what I do a lot of the time is I create a new layer and then I bang out sort of one little section. That way I know that when I'm erasing it, I'm not going to affect another section. Then I merge those two layers together, create a new one, and keep working that way. So I'm always sort of creating a layer that's going to then immediately get merged right back into a layer of that same value. That's why you see a lot of stuff get laid in sort of fuzzy, and then you'll see me erase away so that I can get the control. So I'm just sort of loosely putting in the lighting, and then I'm going back in and just adjusting it with an eraser, basically. So now this is my next value up. I believe this is set to add, and then I'm just sort of going in with another color that's in the same line as what I've already been doing for his skin, and then just doing it to sort of, you know, heat up, make those rims a little bit brighter than they were before. Here's just a little bit of emphasis on the core shadow. You can see darken the chin, darken some spots of the neck, darken where the ear's casting, the lips. There's the cheekbone. Then I go into like the nose and just add like a little bit of adding some little extra shadow dimension, especially around the eyes, as you can see here. So here I am putting in more shadow into the ears and then starting to do like little color tweaks just so that I can get some variation in the skin color. So normally on a healthier character I would be putting in, you know, some slight purple around the eyes, some pink around the nose and the ears, but here it's just more dark around the eyes to make them just look grosser, really. And then here's some eye stuff. I want to make sure those irises were super light to give them a really weird sort of vibe. You'll see me adjust those a little bit more later, I believe. Here I'm hammering in the teeth, did like some gradient stuff that you'll see come back again later. Now I'm just coloring in the shirt. All pretty standard color progression, going from a slightly more purpley shadow to a slightly yellower bright side. And then there is some blur that I put on some of the lines, and then some other just slight color adjustments. Put a little bit of that fog in, and then merged everything together, did some more blur work, and some bounce light from the collar. And that's the piece All Nighter. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please hit subscribe if you did. Thanks. And if you're looking for me on the internet, these are the places where you can find me.